Indeed.
Not gonna lie, I was pretty damn excited. I've never done anything quite like this exactly. I mean, this is my second album technically ever, but the first one wasn't really like remastered or anything like that. Um,
Is the
yes.
first album like in here kind of like a? I guess you could say like that soul of it like transfers over into this. You like resonate in it.
Just one song actually.
Just one song. Ooh. What would the one
Yeah.
be?
It was Derpy Dur. Yeah,
Oh,
and
your feature.
you want to go by order by songs, or do you just want to mention whichever one?
Uh, we could, yeah. I mean, like I guess we'll get like more on that one, like resonating and like being the first as we go, I guess.
Yeah, let's do that
Because
then.
I mean, did you put them in order? Like this is like a set
I
in stone thing?
I did, yeah. I put them in
Okay,
order
alright.
because that's how I wanted them to be listened to. Um,
Nice.
so the first one is The Adventures of Judy B. Jones.
Yeah, GDB Jones.
That one was a bit repetitive. I'm not gonna lie. That one I'm probably gonna add a second part to it later on. So it'd be The Adventures of Judy B. Jones Part Two. Um,
Oh,
yeah, because I want to talk about her adventures. Because in the song it just kind of says, "Oh, the adventures of Judy B. Jones will take you from all of the unknown." Um, and yeah,
oh, so
I
you want
feel
to
like
explore what that unknown is and all that,
yes,
right?
I kind of
Yeah.
get into it in the other song called Daydreamer a little bit more,
Hmm.
where she goes wherever she wants and she knows exactly where to go.
I guess you could say
Um,
it's like a good transition because, like I said, you talk about order, how Daydreamer is like the finale of it. So I guess that could be like
yes,
you
did
say
you
like your hint
catch?
flavored to the part two.
Did you catch that it was kind of like a compilation of everything, just kind of going
Yeah.
through everything? I tried making
So
a
like, I guess you
concept
could say
album.
the names are the adventures in a sense.
In a way, yeah, that'd be an interesting take on it. I didn't think of it like that, but yeah, that's what I like about
Uh,
music. It's kind of subjective.
yeah. It's all like what a person perceives of it, and if like they could make it come off like that, then you know.
Yeah, I know what the songs mean to me, but it'll probably mean something different to other people, which I
Yeah.
like. Um, but yeah, the first song I wrote for this album was "The Adventures of Jody B. Jones." Um, spoiler: Jody B. Jones is the name of my guitar, actually.
On the Judy B. Jones is like,
Yes, when I
oh,
got my Fender Telecaster. It was the most expensive guitar I've ever bought in. It was a Fender Telecaster player. It's around like $800. Um,
mm,
I love that guitar. It has a very classic vibe to it. Um,
yeah,
and when I play my guitar, I feel like I'm transported to like another fucking world. Um,
yeah.
and that's why Jody takes me on these adventures and stuff, and I get to see these adventures through Jody, which is the guitar. Yeah,
You
so
mean Judy?
that's Judy. I said Jody for the longest. I can't tell if it's Jody or Judy. The thing is,
Jody. Yeah.
there's another one. I didn't know subconsciously. I thought up the name Judy B. Jones. Apparently, there's like this other. I think from the Magical School Bus, the teacher's name is like Jody or something like that. Um,
Oh yeah. I mean, it does sound like it's like one of those like names where it has like a ring to it, but then again, it could just be like the Judy and Jones thing, like how people like be like Judge Judy and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I didn't.
Where other people hear it.
I didn't mean to do it like that. It wasn't based on a character. I just thought that the name was really cool for a guitar. Um,
Yeah.
it's funny how that worked out because I'm like, I felt like I've heard that before, but it was just subconsciously that I did that. I had no
Yeah.
idea that that's what.
That connection to it.
Yeah, and then later on, I found out. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah, it's
that.
always kind of neat where it's like you don't intend for something to happen, but then sometimes it also comes off like that, and you're like, well, that's actually like a neat spice to it, you know?
Yeah, it was, and it's interesting because the Magical School Bus they literally go on adventures.
Yeah.
Um, didn't mean for it to go that way. It went that way.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, I mean, now it could be the adventures of like you know, Judy as in your guitar, going on these adventures of all these like tales or
Yeah, I'm not
music
overly
and stuff.
upset by it. Um,
Yeah, no, it's nice.
the second song, um, oh yeah, but it was the first song. Going back to the first one, it was not rushed. It was kind of just like a little test. to see where I could go, because I just got Ableton Live. It
Yeah.
was free software I got off of purchasing my mixer, and I just wanted to know what I could do, and I tested some of the effects on it, some little things I could do, um, and the songs came together. I wanted it to be kind of like a Strawberry Fields type of vibe to it in a way, where it's kind of like
Mm,
has a weird tone to it. Um,
mm.
there's a drum in there actually too. I don't know
Oh.
if you caught that. It's the only
Or
song
like
with a
very.
drum. It
Also, that's the only one with another
instrument.
instrument.
Yeah,
Oh.
in a way, yeah. There is a drum. It's very low. You kind of hear it going doom 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 doom. Um, and yeah, it's trying to give that weird vibe off of that song. Um, I
Mm.
also sang a bit of Sergeant Pepper in the beginning. I don't know if you caught that.
Partially, it was like one of those when I was hearing it, I was like trying to get a vibe. It's like I didn't know if it was fully, because like like you say, I guess like names and like a lot of songs nowadays where you think you hear it somewhere, but you don't know if it's just like your mind processing it, or if it's like that connection where you're just like, oh, there it is.
As many of you guys may know, I am a huge Beatles fan. Um, Probably one of the biggest, to be honest. Um, there's another song by the Beatles, and that song actually. I don't know if you got that one.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
It was quieter than the first one because the first one I just kind of yelled it. Um,
Yeah. So I feel like that's what makes a good statement known.
but at the very end of the song, you could hear me saying, "The English army had just won the war," and it's kind of like it is an homage to "The Day in the Life" by the Beatles. And yeah, you can hear it. It's like a little Easter egg I put in that song because it was a very
Uh,
simple song. It's kind of repetitive. Couldn't think of more like things
yeah.
to put in there, so I'm like, you know what?
I
Let
mean,
me
I
put
guess you
some
could say
Easter
it's like
eggs.
paying tribute to like the inspiration to you. Also,
Yeah. So that was the inspiration for the first song. Um, the second one, I believe, it's all of them may involve you.
Yeah.
I so that one was a little bit different. I usually write the songs with the guitar and sing together.
Hmm.
And that one, I play the guitar first, and I had this little riff kind of where it goes din 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 din, and I'm like, sounds pretty cool. And I'm like, all of them may involve you. And then I'm like, well, what else rhymes with that? Um, and that was just the song that I just kind of wrote a long ass time ago. I never thought I would finish it, and then I finally finished it. Um, it's been a while since I've heard the actual songs. I would play them, but I feel like I could copyright it by myself.
Oh.
It's so fun.
Sure. It's
Um,
always like weird with that.
I'm not sure if that's the one that has the change of tone, or that might be the other one. The way it's going to be, I believe, in all of them may involve you. That's when it goes. Looney Tunes may break your bones. I don't remember if it's that one. Um, that change of tone happened all by accident. Again, me messing with Ableton Live. Um, it's kind of like a little drop, and I'm like, And then that part where it goes, I'm like, oh, that's dope. Sounds really
Hmm.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was just me messing with the software again, just trying to see what would
Oh, so
work.
for the part when it increases, or like the break your bones when you're in it, like you said, that's
Yeah,
just like you experimenting with.
it was, cause
Yeah.
it's called like a change of tone in music.
Yeah.
Um, I played the F chord there, and the F chord's really good for transitioning into different types of like keys in a way.
Mhm.
So I'm like, this kind of took a little turn. I'm like, Looney Tunes may break your bones, and it's actually like this name of this Instagram, this girl's Instagram that I follow. Her name was like Looney Two Tunes, and I thought that was
Oh.
really cool. I'm like, hmm, Looney Tunes, and then I'm like,
Mm.
well, Looney Tunes kind of. I was thinking of that big guy. I don't know what it's called. That brown dude, the big, like, I think he's a hedgehog.
Oh, the Tasmanian Devil.
I think so. Yeah,
The like the one that's like always like talking when his tongue's like.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like he'd like break some stuff. I feel like they kind of break bones all the time in that show because it's a cartoon.
Oh, I know for real.
So I'm like, Looney Tunes may break your bones, but that's pretty much all for that one. That was a pretty good song though. I like that one. Um, the next one is Little Bird.
the, the name of the big thing.
The album, yeah. What'd you
Yeah.
think of Little Bird? I'm curious.
Uh, I enjoyed it. I feel like what is it? Not saying like I personally set high standards for it once I knew it was coming up. So
Yeah,
then like it would undershine the 2v4 for like Judy B. Jones or all of them involve you because like they were still great.
yeah,
But I feel like Little Bird just had this like excitement build up for it. And so
yeah.
like hearing it like slowly bridge into it,
So
it's just like nice and like it keeps like a nice like calm
it
like beat to it.
is.
But also like
So
staring at like the artwork too.
the original album like name was gonna be called Daydreamer. But when I was thinking of the concept for the album cover, which Sam helped me out with, I know I think I've told you that already. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Sam did an incredible job. I pretty much just gave Sam like this vague, uh, I just want three birds, some trees, and the sun. And he was telling me, I forgot what he told me at first. He said, if I wanted it black and white, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Uh, there's a term for that. I forgot what it's called.
Like Nor or like Nor. No,
I,
wait.
I don't remember. Um, but he said something, and I'm like, yeah, I want that. Um, and then we did it, and I'm like, let's get some colors in here. And then I'm like, can because he was just telling me, oh, you just tell me what you want. And I'm like, yeah, I just kind of, because you know how when you go get a tattoo, you don't really want to tell the artist, oh, do this and that. You kind of just want him to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Because usually the drawings just come out better like that. And I heard it's like super annoying when like people are hovering and like, no, don't do that. I'm like, not just
Yeah.
do your own thing. I just pretty much want the birds, and some trees being like crushed, and that's all I gave him. And then he came up with this, and he's like, "What do you want the color palette to be?" And I'm like, I was playing Among Trees at the time, and I really enjoyed the I don't know if you've seen it. It's a wallpaper with a girl, and then the
Yeah, I think I've seen like your desktop or stuff like that.
yeah, it is my desktop actually.
Yeah, like that hue it has.
Yeah, I wanted that,
Yeah.
and that's the colors we got, and I'm really happy about that. Um,
Yeah, it came out nice.
so Little Bird for me, the song's all about pollution, and I've written another song about pollution. It was a bit darker. The other song was all about how we were ruining the planet since we got out of the ocean. It's a lot darker. Um, so I was playing it, and I'm like, I was really thinking of like the African rainforest. It's not the African rainforest. The just the rainforest in general. Um, I was thinking how the bulldozers are like pretty much breaking everything down, all the trees. And I was thinking of like this family of birds and how like they lost their homes. And yeah, it was all in the spot too, by the way. So just me, my guitar, a microphone in front of me. I didn't write this
Nice.
out. I didn't plan it out. I didn't have this like chords already written or anything. It just went with it, and it started off very, very slow and low. I think mainly because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to say next. Um,
Mm.
and this phrase, "Fly high, little bird," and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. That's all I want to know. It's all I want in the album. Fly high, little bird, and then that was it. I was really happy with it, and then I put some effects in there. At the very end of it, I'm like, I have all these effects on my voice, on the guitar. I'm like, let's just. I don't know if you caught it when I go 1, 2, 3, and then I go for the next part. And at the very end, I'm like, I just want it plain. I just want my naked voice to play, and that's
Yeah, no, I liked what is it? I was gonna say what I don't know if it does it too for like the music in general, but like I was listening to like the headset and stuff.
yeah,
Now it's like I could hear you on the left
stereo.
and like the guitar on the
Yes,
right.
it
Yeah.
was
And it's just
that.
like this like neat where like the the tone that like the guitar and your voice like transition between one another, like they bounce off. And it's like when you're like to guide you and it was like I don't know, it was just
That
like neat. I got like chills in a
that
sense.
that was on purpose, actually. Although I did want it to be heard more on the right side. Um,
Yeah.
but if you play it on a speaker like I have, it sounds
Yeah.
normal, completely normal.
Yeah.
Um, Sadly, on my phone, I have a Note 9, and the speakers
Hmm.
on the top is where like the voice comes out of, and the right side is where
Uh.
the so it's the bottom of the phone. That's where the guitar comes out.
Yeah.
So if I tried recording it for like Instagram, you'd only hear guitar.
Yeah.
It's sad,
Or like that
but
like transition when it happens where like it slowly fades in. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm very happy how Little Bird came out.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That, like so that one like gave me like chills when I was like hearing it.
I only cut it short because it was kind of getting long,
Mhm.
but I think I hit a pretty good sweet spot.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
No, it is like a really good sweet spot for it. Where it's like one of those where it's like you want more, but then you're like I'm satisfied.
yeah, um, could have pushed it to 7 minutes to be honest. It's what like 5 minutes and almost 6 minutes practically.
Yeah, practically is. Just round it up.
I feel like the chorus could have been played more, but
Yeah.
it's fine. I'm happy with the song and how it came out.
Oh yeah. No.
And right off the bat, once I wrote Little Bird, I'm like, yeah, we're definitely doing an album. I was had 100% like convinced myself, definitely doing an album. The next one after that is Lovely Days. That one was rewritten actually. Um, that
Like rewritten
one's
as like whole.
it was rewritten completely. The concept wasn't though.
Uh.
Where it goes, lonely days will go away, lovely days are here to stay. Um, so that one has more voices, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it's as polished as the other songs in the album. Um, at the time, a lot of people were all like, "Oh, I really like your voice, like super relaxing and stuff." So I'm like, I kind of want to do like an acapella kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's do it for the song, and I did it. Um, Not completely happy with it, to be honest.
Aw.
Yeah, the acapella could have been done different. I feel like I need
True.
more people's voices in there.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna be like, well, I feel like for acapella in general, I mean, like you still did a good job where it was like, I
I
mean, then like you said, it was only just you, so like you could have
yeah,
fooled me in the sense where someone else wasn't there, like I would believe it.
I tried
But yeah,
doing
for acapella,
lower
yeah,
voice and then a higher voice and then normal
yeah,
voice.
that's why I said like you fooled me, like until you fully said where it was like, oh, you're like, oh, I was trying to do it. I was like, oh, so there isn't someone else in there.
No, there isn't. It was just all me.
Well then, yeah, I
Some
mean
effects.
that that was like a good, I guess you could say, like not like a cheese to it, but like a good swindle where it's like if you don't have more people.
Yeah, so that's all I gotta say for Lovely Days.
I mean, it was still good though. I did like it though, cause like it reminds me of like again, like you said, like an acapella. But there's like a group, I'm forgetting their name, but they made a song. It was for Infamous. It was called like Fade Away, but it
Yeah,
was like this like constant like the and it like reminded me of like that. So I guess it's like with the name of the song like Lovely Days. It reminds me of like that simpler time back then when I would used to hear that music, and it was just like I guess it's like to other people find it like soothing,
I could have
but
also like
here's like a twist.
stretched out the acapella part too. Um, I mean, it's all right. It ended up where it was supposed to be. Just more people would have been nice, to be honest, probably.
Yeah, I feel.
But that was it for Lovely Days. Yes, but that one was rewritten. It was one of the rewritten ones, because before it was pretty repetitive, I would say as well. Um,
Mm.
there wasn't a lot of lyrics in there, so I'm like, I have to do something to spice this one up a little bit. So that's what I did. And then the next
Still
one,
pretty good job on that one.
yeah, thank you. The next one, the way it's going to be. I like that one actually. If which one was your favorite, by the way?
Shoot, I mean, with the time I've had on it so far, it's like I can't pick a full favorite, but I will say like you said, the way it's going to be in Little Bird, because the way how they're like upbeat in a sense, like where Little Bird's like more like
Mellow.
I guess mellow, yeah. Well, like the way it's gonna be kind of gets you more like into it, like bopping like a little bit.
Yeah, that one was. I wanted it jam packed with lyrics.
Yeah.
I was inspired by Oasis actually, one of Noel
Ooh.
Gallagher's songs. Um, yeah, I just it just kind of it vibed very well. There's a lot of lyrics in that one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the songs at like in the spot. It's kind of hard because there's like 9 of them.
Hmm.
But I'm happy how that one came out. The way it's gonna be. Um, maybe you can see the way it's gonna be. There's a lot of like
Yeah, it's
religious
like the way
things
you're
on
gonna be
there.
with like you and me, and then there's like the
Yeah,
whole like main part. Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of lyrics in there, which is nice. And then at the very end, it kind of took like a little turn. Um, when you're not there, pretty good song. You guys should definitely listen to that one. If you could only listen to one, I'd probably say either Little Bird or The Way It's Going to Be.
Yeah,
Um,
because I feel like the way it's gonna be, like you mentioned, of how it's like a little like story in itself, where like it starts off where it's like, oh, like what, like how we're gonna be, and then like you mentioned of how like it takes a turn where it's like, can't you see, like this is like the way it's gonna be, stuff like
yeah,
that. Like
it was,
it goes from like them being like together, and it's like, oh, now they're gone.
yeah, it's pretty damn
Mhm.
good. I think it.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I was more familiar with Ableton
Hmm.
because again, it took like a month. It took 2 weeks
Yeah.
to write the entire thing. 3 weeks, not 3 weeks, 2 more weeks to rewrite 3 of the songs, um, and remaster everything and distribute everything. So it was an entire month. So it took a
Yeah.
while. Um, yeah, I'm very happy with that song. It has a very good story to it. I think it has good rhyme to it. Um, the way it's gonna be, maybe you can see. Maybe you can't see the way. A whole bunch of rhymes. Pretty damn good. Definitely listen to
You you
that
you
one.
you mentioned Oasis like inspired you for that one, right?
It did. I don't remember the song that inspired me.
Ah. Do you have like a little Easter egg you nod back, I guess you could say?
Not on that one, but
No, not that one. But that
so
one is inspired.
it is. So a lot of British music they use a chord called the Cat 9, which is kind
Yeah.
of like a modified C chord. And that's definitely in that one
Oh.
on the little guitar solo at the end. I call it a guitar solo because mainly I'm singing through the whole thing, but in that
Yeah.
little part, it's just the guitar. Um, so yeah, that's why I say it's kind of inspired by it. So there you go.
Ah.
And they're inspired by the Beatles, so it kind of
Yeah.
goes full circle.
It goes hand in hand really quick.
The next one is Derpy Dirt. You might be asking what the fuck is the name.
True.
So that one came out of frustration. I was trying to play yesterday, um, the Beatles song by Paul McCartney, and I couldn't get it. It was I don't know. I just could not get the beat right. So I'm like shit. And then I started playing a D, then to a G. And I'm like, this kind of has like a little. It's kind of derpy. It has a derpy sound to it, because it just goes. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, this is fucking derpy. I'm like, okay. And then I was just singing like what I was feeling at the time. So I'm like, I wonder where you are now. I wonder what you do now. I wonder how you are now. And then in the middle, the chorus is like, I'm sorry for the things, some other stuff. But yeah, that was just kind of like a reflection of what was going on in my personal life. So that song is actually not written for this album. It was actually in a previous one. Um, but I'm very happy that I included it in here because I think it adds a bit to it. It was kind of like a one take too, by the way, so it wasn't really heavily edited. Um, so there's like a point where I go, let's go again, or something like that, or let's do it again, and then I start singing it again. It's pretty good. So that's pretty much all for that one.
Oh. So like you said, of course, that one was just like out of frustration for trying to learn one song, and you kind of like
Yes.
end up like resonating with that anger and just like speaking it pretty much, and then
Yes. It
put
was
all the
way
derpiness around.
it was way derpier because I was finger plucking it the first time, so it was slower.
Uh, yeah, because like you
Um,
mentioned, it does take like a turn where like, yeah, I wonder what it would feel like too and stuff, and that's when you start to get like more into it.
yeah, to do this shit in real life, which is just like that part is interesting because I'm like, I feel like a lot of like people talk,
Mhm.
but I wonder what it would actually feel like to do like have like an actual relationship like in real fucking life. Like how would it actually feel like a real fucking thing? You get me? Like where
Yeah.
there's no like BS or anything like that. So I'm like, I wonder what it would feel like. So let's do this thing in real life. Let's do this shit in real life. Um, so yeah, that's what that song's about.
So kind of like in a sense where it's like also like linked in a sense the way how it's like the way it's gonna be also of how like you mentioned like that little story of
It's
like
interesting because they're written
trying to
so
be.
far apart too.
Yeah, because like you mentioned how this just was like a take from like a whole different like basis, but like how it slowly correlates into like that transition where you're like, oh wait a second.
Yeah, I wanted a concept album, so I wanted all the songs
Mm-hmm.
to kind of relate to each other. Um, I didn't do an amazing job at it, but it's what it is, and I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
still a pretty fine, damn good job right there, if I do say so myself.
The next one is The Night is Shouting Loud. That one takes a little bit of a slower tone to it.
Mm.
Um, Again, more like writing about personal things. That song was written not for this album in particular. It was written before this
Oh,
album. It was a single actually that I put it on YouTube. Um, yeah, it's I'm trying to remember the lyrics. I remember that the last part is the night is shouting loud, and I know what that means. Um, so obviously, like when you're alone at night, you start getting these thoughts. So of course, the night is shouting loud. So that's what the song means. Um, Fuck, I really wish I could play it.
well, because I know there's like the part where you mentioned where you're like, oh my dear, and it's like when I see you again and stuff, because it's like going off on the night.
Yeah, I love that part when I said it. Again, I can't remember that one. Damn, it's because it was that song was probably one of the last ones written. Actually, I know it's not
Mm.
placed at the very end, but it's one of the last ones written.
Yeah,
Um,
because I was gonna mention is like touching upon the words of how like you mentioned like my dear and stuff, how like on the other songs throughout the album, kind of like you mentioned, where it seems like this closure to it of like reflecting on like all the
yes, very
adventure
good.
that was taking place.
Yes, and then actually it, yeah, I didn't notice that, but yeah, it kind of concludes there.
Mm-hmm.
The next song, "The Stream of Life," beautiful name by the way.
True, true, true.
Not written for this. By the way, the night is shouting loud. It's interesting because it has two voices in it, um, and I just absolutely love that. Like I feel like I kind of nailed the part where it's like it goes smoothly with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was very proud about that part. But moving on to the Stream of Life. The Stream of Life was not made for this album in particular. This song is the oldest song I've ever written. It was before I could even write chords or know any chords really. Um, it gives me like a Hawaiian kind of vibe. Um,
Yeah.
in my imagination, I dreamt of this stream. Kind of just imagine like among trees, like the coloring. And I
Yeah.
imagine the stream, all these forests around it. Uh, and I just the original lyrics, because there was some that I tried, was going down the stream of life, going down where I cannot find or something like that. And then the chorus is all like, "That's just the stream of life," and it's basically just going through life. It's pretty much what it is. Has no lyrics. I make a joke about it in the next song, "Daydreamer." Um,
But for the streams of life, like you mentioned though too, of how like it doesn't have like words or like lyrics like you mentioned in a sense, but like how you from just like the name and like that imagination and the tone like you mentioned of how you could see not just like the stream, but like you picture like that Hawaiian type of vibe. So like you
yeah,
mentioned when you were mentioning this song, I pictured like oh a sunset and it's not like Lilo and Stitch type of thing, but like that beachside sunset of like surfing and stuff, just like that breeze of the
yeah.
stream. So
I
yeah.
absolutely love that song. It's I think my favorite song. If I would ever like, I don't really do guitar solos, but I would consider that an entire like song guitar solo. Not a crazy one, but it is an acoustic one. Um, Again, at the time, I didn't know anything about guitar when I wrote it. Um, it was just kind of like this little beat that I liked. Um, and I'm like, oh, this has a little bit of a beat to it. And then the other lyrics I made, it was about like some angels. Um, it was just like, it always had uplifting like lyrics. It was never like a sad song. Even the song reflects it. It's like very like happy in a
Yeah.
way. But yeah, I can't come up with lyrics. I just could never do it. I even tried making just random humming sounds, and yeah, no, I'm like, you know what, let's just leave it. I'm I'm not even gonna bother at this point.
Yeah.
It's just the stream of life. Daydreamer, and that is the last song of the album. What'd you think about Daydreamer? I'm curious.
Uh, I found it interesting, I guess you could say, because like when you go from the stream of life and then you hear this like daydreamer thing where it goes from mentioning Jody and then seeing like the ways of how like things are turning out.
Yeah.
So I guess it does like correlate with like the title Daydreamer, where it's like envisioning, like I guess you say then it goes back again where it's like the way it's gonna be, where it's like oh dreaming about like oh that way that it is gonna be, you know?
Daydreamer was another homage to the Beatles. Actually, I took that from Sgt. Pepper, the reprise version. Um, I was telling my friend about it, and apparently, like Billie Eilish did a version of this kinda, where she went back on all of her songs and talked about them in the last song. I didn't know that, honestly. Um, but
Like
I
I know too towards the end of the song you mentioned about like oh the little bird comes back and it's like it's going high. So I guess again like with the Daydreamer where it's like reaching towards that like next goal or like again dream as the title says, like the little bird going away, like reaching for it.
it's like Little Bird Fly. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy because that was supposed to be the title name, Daydreamer. Um, Daydreamer's cool because in the song it talks about it goes from all of them may involve you, and then it jumps to the way it's going to be. It goes to Derpy Dirt too. There's a part in it. It kind of involves some of the lyrics in there too, which I thought was pretty
Yeah.
cool. It doesn't mention The Night is Shouting Loud because that song was written afterwards,
Mm.
sadly. Um, it does talk about the stream of life. I even play some of the quotes in the stream of life. And it goes, the
Oh.
stream of life got nothing to say but everything and above. And then it goes, but little bird fly high. And then, yeah, it's a very short song. I kind of wish it was 3 minutes, but I didn't want to push it over because I just wanted it to be like an abrupt end,
Yeah.
like you waking up, boom, you're up.
Yeah. So then you're like, no, wait, I want to go back. I want more.
So there you go. That was the entire album. I had a blast writing it, and I think at the very end, I'm like, I hope you enjoyed the show. And there you go. I hope you
Wow.
you guys did enjoy the show.